Hello, welcome, and thanks for tuning in to the International Entrepreneurs Night presenting Canada tonight. It's the 8th time we are coming together for the International Entrepreneurs Night. We are always focusing on smart cities, always bringing you the most inspiring stories from cities, regions, and metropoles from all over the world. Over the last couple of years, we've had Amsterdam here, we've had Stockholm here, Paris, and during the last International Entrepreneurs Night, Singapore. And well, tonight we are hosting Canada, and we're partnering up with the CTA, the Canadian Technology Accelerator. And my name is Marisa Schneider. I'm working with international corporations at UnternehmerTUM, and I'm your hostess for tonight. So what can you expect from tonight? You can expect a keynote on the Canadian AutoTech landscape. You can expect 6 startup pitches from startups that have developed AutoTech solutions to make the automotive industry smarter. We're going to have a jury panel, an audience vote on the favorite startup, and at 7:30 we start with our networking session. We are on the streaming platform Streevent today, and on the left side of your screen, you can see a navigation bar where you can switch between the live stream in which you are right now and the networking area where you will be later from 7:30 on, where you can meet all the speakers and all the startups that you'll see here tonight. And there's another bar where you can get a little bit more background information on the startups and the organizations that we have here tonight speaking. So yeah, we're partnering up with Canada. The 6 startups, they are in our focus today. They have been with us at UnternehmerTUM for the last couple of months, unfortunately only virtual, but nevertheless, it has been a great pleasure to have them with us here. UnternehmerTUM, for those of you who don't know us yet and have tuned in for the first time, UnternehmerTUM is the Center for Innovation and Business Creation at the TUM here in Munich. And basically, it's a place where we turn visions into value. But what does that mean? What's happening at UnternehmerTUM? Let's have a look.
A successful entrepreneur is made of a strong vision, the persistence to follow that vision, and a strong team around you. You have to get up every day and fight for the vision that you're pursuing, because it's going to be a really long journey and it's going to be hard work. Don't believe anyone who's telling you it's different. It's never easy. And you will succeed only if you get up every day and fight for the vision that you're pursuing.
We are a team of experts, entrepreneurs, and visionaries, going further, creating value for tomorrow. We don't make excuses, we take action. Small improvements? Not enough. We challenge the status quo. Change comes through collaboration, so join in and experience innovation.
The purpose of UnternehmerTUM is helping the next generation of entrepreneurs to become really successful, having great impact and positive impact on our world. I'm really passionate about fostering the next generation of entrepreneurs.
It changed over time. It is actually like a startup itself. And now there's this big ecosystem player, one of the biggest in Europe. I really like the way they address the whole topic, very open, very different from the scientific world that I knew from the university. Yeah, that made it more appealing, and I got curious about what UnternehmerTUM else is offering. And back then, Flixbus was already on the way.
We became in touch with UnternehmerTUM pretty early. I mean, we are Munich startups, so we are Munich-based, and therefore we were pitching a lot to investors, the local community. I mean, that was 10 years back. And therefore, UnternehmerTUM was obviously one of the big names in Munich that we wanted to talk to.
UnternehmerTUM changed a lot since the beginning in 2002. Back then, we were 3 people. Today, we are a team of 240 experts and entrepreneurs and we train up to 5,000 people from industry, from universities and from startups. And moreover, we support 50 high-tech startups and help them to enter the market.
For us, everything is about turning visions into value, and most things start small with a few people having some ambitious, crazy ideas. And we have this really active, innovative network of people from academia, from startups, from established companies, from the public sector. And all these people want to work together, come up with the next big solution, improve the world, and be part of it.
Well, that's UnternehmerTUM in a nutshell. And now I would like to welcome our keynote speaker for tonight. And he's the Consul and Senior Trade Commissioner, Head of Office at the Consulate of Canada in Munich, David Dunkerley. He is from Ontario in Canada, and he has moved to Munich just a few months ago in fall 2020. He's had an impressive diplomatic career even before he joined us here in Munich. He was, as a diplomat, 8 years in China, first at the Canadian Embassy in Beijing, and then as the Consul General in Shanghai. And before that, he has had one of his first postings as Trade Commissioner at the Canadian Embassy in the Philippines. So very impressive. We are very happy and lucky to have him here tonight. Please come on stage, David Dunkerley.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Marissa. Hello, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde and guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Ich freue mich, an diesem Event teilzunehmen. It's a pleasure to be here for the International Entrepreneurs Night, my first event in Munich, and provide, hopefully, a bit of insight on what Canada has to offer in AutoTech. Before starting, I'd like to thank you and UnternehmerTUM for the excellent collaboration in support of the Canadian startup cohort showcased here this evening. From what I've heard, our cohort has profited from the mentorship, workshops, and inspirational talks you have provided. And it's great to be here for the culmination of those with tonight's session. As the Senior Trade Commissioner at the Consulate of Canada in Munich, I'd like to first tell you about the Trade Commissioner Service. And sorry, Anna, you can go to the next slide. Canada's Trade Commissioner Service is our export agency and a part of Global Affairs Canada. Our mandate is to support Canadian exporters, promote Canada as a destination for foreign direct investment, and foster scientific and technology cooperation. We've been doing this for over 120 years with our network of offices in embassies and consulates around the world. Here in Germany, we're located at our embassy in Berlin, as well as our consulates in Dusseldorf and of course here in Munich. Our services are free to qualified clients and contacts. That means not only Canadian companies, but also foreign enterprises, including German companies that might do business in Canada. And I'd encourage anyone listening here tonight to reach out to us following the presentation if you have any questions about the Trade Commissioner Service and how we could help your business grow internationally. The cohort presenting tonight is part of a program we call the Canadian Technology Accelerator, offered by the Trade Commissioner Service. It's a program developed to support our deep tech startup base in entering foreign markets. Originally focused on the US market and limited to ICT, clean tech, and life sciences sectors, the program has expanded into other key markets around the world and has been broadened to cover other sectors. You are actually witnessing the first Canadian Technology Accelerator cohort focused on AutoTech. The 6 startups pitching this evening were selected through a competitive process and represent some of the best we have to offer. We view AutoTech as the application of deep tech solutions to some of the challenges facing the automotive industry, including autonomous systems, electrification of the powertrain, as well as health and safety issues. The 6 Canadian startups presenting tonight address many of these issues with the latest technologies and have, through the CTA program, been pitching their solutions to the key automotive players in Germany these past few months with the help of UnternehmerTUM. I see AutoTech as a major contributor to finding solutions in the broader new mobility context, and I'm glad to introduce what Canada has to contribute. While I am obviously focusing on Canada, the challenges we face are global and the solutions can come from anywhere. I fully appreciate that much of the audience tonight is not particularly concerned about the origins of the technology, and the location of the startup is a secondary aspect. However, the auto industry is seeking the best technologies on a global scale, and I would like to take a minute to explain why you should not be surprised to hear about strong auto tech solutions coming from Canada. Please allow me to give a short overview of the Canadian auto tech landscape. With vehicle production level of 1.9 million vehicles in 2019, Canada is a significant player in the highly integrated North American automotive industry. Canada contributed 12% of vehicle production in North America in 2019 and represents roughly 10% of manufacturing GDP in Canada, stemming from 21 passenger and commercial vehicle plants. The North American Free Trade Agreement, CUSMA, which replaced NAFTA, strengthened the Canadian auto industry and contributed to Canadian plants poised to win new product mandates for electric vehicle production. Although this map shows how the automotive industry is spread across Canada, the bulk of our industry can be found in the province of Ontario, which is home to several light vehicle assembly plants, including GM, Ford, FCA, Toyota, Honda, as well as the headquarter location for leading Canadian Tier 1s such as Magna, Linamar, and Martin. The province of Quebec, with the city of Montreal and area, is an important hub where several of the heavy-duty commercial vehicle assembly plants reside. Other pockets are spread across Canada, mainly in Manitoba and also in British Columbia. Next slide, please. This slide demonstrates what makes Canada so dynamic in the auto tech space and is the key point in the presentation. Zooming in on the map, you are looking at the southwest corner of the province of Ontario. The green ellipse encircles all of the light vehicle assembly plants on a 400-kilometer stretch from Windsor, which lies across the Detroit River from Detroit, to the Greater Toronto area. The blue ellipse, centered around Toronto, extends from Waterloo to Ottawa and is North America's second largest concentration of IT companies. We view the intersection of these two ellipses as the sweet spot for auto tech in Canada. It is, so to speak, a place where Silicon Valley meets Detroit. With such a strong auto tech industry in Canada, for our tech startups, it is not a foreign concept. The situation in Ontario is duplicated to a lesser extent in other regions of Canada, especially in Quebec, where the latest IT technologies have traditionally met manufacturing industry in the form of the aerospace sector, notably Bombardier. Quebec, along with Ontario, is also the center of AI developments in Canada. New technologies such as AI, quantum computing, and AR/VR are the underpinning of much of the tech that Canada has to offer the global automotive industry. Next slide, please. These images underscore the depth and scale of automotive relevant technologies to be found in Canada and cover all areas of the automotive technology stack. Whether it is in relation to the electrification of the drivetrain or software supported solutions for autonomous driving or the corresponding new interior, Canada has a strong and growing supply base to respond to areas of new technology. As an example of this, the region of Waterloo, home to the University of Waterloo, created the image on the right showing how local companies in that specific region offer solutions in a broad range of automotive systems. Next slide. I'd like to note here that Canada and Germany's cooperation in auto tech is just a recent example in a long-standing partnership in S&T. In a few weeks, we will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the German-Canadian Intergovernmental Agreement on Scientific and Technological Cooperation. This picture was taken at the signing ceremony of that agreement in 1971. Some of you may recognize the man on the right as Walter Scheel, who was the German foreign minister at the time before becoming president of the Federal Republic. The Canadian on the left is Jean-Luc Pépin, the Minister for Trade and Industry at the time. Canada and Germany will be leveraging the 50-year anniversary to reevaluate where we focus our efforts to help solve some of the world's most pressing challenges and build a better future while reinforcing our current areas of cooperation. A good recent example, an ongoing example of German-Canadian collaboration is the recently announced agreement between Canada and Germany in the area of hydrogen, which has been in the news quite a bit lately. As you know, hydrogen is quickly becoming the centerpiece of Germany's decarbonization strategy. At the same time, Canada is becoming a major source of hydrogen for the world. With extensive capabilities for blue hydrogen in Western Canada and the large capacity to offer green hydrogen from Eastern Canada, you should be hearing more about Canadian-German cooperation in the coming years. Next slide, please. This is our cohort who will be pitching tonight. I hope you enjoy their presentations and are able to stick around later for the networking session to speak with them. I'll also be there, of course, as well as my colleague Cliff Singleton, who's been key in organizing this activity. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you take a strong interest in our cohort companies. And last slide, please, Anna. There's my contact details. I'd be happy to speak with any of you who have any interest in the Trade Commissioner Service following the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David, for giving us these insights. Now, if you allow me, I would like to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
So we have in these amazing startups here tonight. You have been showing us the expertise of Canada in the automotive industry. What do you think, and how will the new developments in vehicle technologies affect urban mobility in the next 10 years?
Well, I must admit I'm not an expert in the area by any means, and I'll be interested to hear in the networking session later the thoughts of some others who are participating tonight. I would say, though, that I still think cars will be the centerpiece of that environment, albeit perhaps more as an autonomous vehicle, perhaps without a driver. I think generally speaking, we're making incremental steps in technology, and we're finding very specific solutions, including through products our cohort has developed and which we're going to hear about later. And all of these individual technologies, when brought together, are really moving things forward rather quickly. Personally, I think the evolution and broadening appeal of electric vehicles is something that I have a lot of interest in. Also in the knock-on effect it has for Canada in terms of supply chains, both for new tech and materials, particularly with respect to batteries, and the implications that has for Canada, including as a source of natural resources required for batteries. I think the adoption of electric vehicles will continue to pick up pace. And I think in 10 years, that'll be very evident when we look at the urban mobility landscape. Even in places like Canada, which in some ways is more challenging due to large distances, low population density, and our cold climate. It's probably also worth noting, I mentioned hydrogen there. Canada's contributing extensively in the area of hydrogen. It's already the 10th largest producer of hydrogen globally, and we continue to grow, and I expect we'll move up that ranking, including in production of green hydrogen, which is produced using hydroelectricity. Depending where the technology goes, that could be an exciting new area for urban mobility as well.
All right, thank you. And now tonight and UnternehmerTUM, and I guess the CTA as well, they are all about innovation. And the big corporates, they need this kind of innovation from startups. But what is your opinion? What is your feeling? How well do these corporations work? Is the industry prepared to work with startups and to use the solutions provided by these really young companies?
Well, as far as our CTA AutoTech delegation is concerned, and with whom we have experience, I've been impressed so far in my short time that large traditional industrial companies in Germany, the auto manufacturers, have been opening themselves up for collaboration with startups. I participated in the BMW Startup Garage event we did startup Autobahn initiated by Daimler. And we have seen a sincere interest by these large players to explore what our startups have to offer. And we've had the honor of pitching to all of them in sessions similar to this. I realize it's not easy for a large corporate to work with a tiny startup, but I think that both sides can profit from working together. Startups are a great source of new ideas. They're responsive, they're adaptable, and the large players are certainly experts in helping them scale up their solutions when they do work together.
Mm-hmm. And on your first question, you already mentioned the autonomous cars. What do you think? What's your personal assessment? In how many years will you be driving an autonomous car? And will you ever, and if, when will you take an all-electric air taxi to work?
The all-electric air taxi, I'm not so sure about that. It might be a long time. I don't know, to answer your question, but you mentioned in my introduction my time in China. I was in China from 2012 to 2019. I did 4 years in Beijing, followed by 4 years in Shanghai. And during those 8 years, I witnessed just an extraordinary change in the landscape from a tech point of view, including from a transportation point of view. It was an environment with a lot of experimentation, especially with the use of big data and artificial intelligence and how those can integrate into transportation solutions. I saw a lot of ideas there that were implemented that worked, and probably even more that failed. All this to say, in that, with that kind of innovation happening, I think it could be much sooner than we might expect that we'll be having autonomous vehicles. Though I'm not sure I'd want to be the first passenger in one.
All right, great. Thank you, David, for your time. To our audience, this talk with David has been recorded as well. And if you want to see it again, if you want to share it with your colleagues that also work with automotive, then please tune in for our next U-Talk as well that you can find on the UnternehmerTUM homepage. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Marissa.
Great. Now, I mentioned earlier in the agenda that we're having a jury here today who is going to have a closer look at our startup cohort tonight, and that's going to ask all the important questions that we would like to have answered by our founders. So I would like to introduce our jury to you. First off, we have Dr. Mara Kohl. She is the lead of Connected Mobility Platform at Bayern Innovativ. What she's doing in her job is bringing together all the different stakeholders to foster the dialogue on connected mobility. Hello, Mara, and what are you looking forward to the most today?
Hi, Marisa. Well, I'm very happy to be part of this all. Talking to startups and getting to know new ideas is always very inspiring for me, to have new insights how the future can look like in the mobility sector and what kind of inspiration we can get from new ideas out there. Makes me think about how we can connect them to the existing ecosystem and kind of how we can support also existing firms here in Bavaria to open up to innovation and new ideas. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to know in much more detail what the startups are doing.
Great, thanks for being here. Then next up, we have Andrea Koch. She is the head of operations of the Initiative for Industrial Innovators at UnternehmerTUM. Hello and welcome, Andrea. And why did you choose from the start working with startups every day?
Hi, Marissa. That's actually so from the start. This is just basically such an exciting area to be in, and to see all that potential and to see it every day and to see dreams come true. That's just, and to assist startups with that is just really fulfilling. So I really enjoy my job, and I'm very, very happy to be here and excited about what's coming up.
Great to have you here. And I think growing is the key word, because at the initiative, you're providing pre-seed capital to really the young startups getting them off the ground. So great initiative and great that you're here tonight. And last but not least, our third jury member is Simon Herzog, Project Manager Future Mobility at the Digital Hub Mobility. And yeah, Simon, welcome. You are enthusiastic about sustainable mobility, I know. And what would you say, what are the two most important things we have to consider when it comes to sustainable mobility in the future?
Yeah, so one very important issue is that all the teams with the products consider the whole life cycle of a product. So meaning not only the operation of the product, but also the production and how the product can be recycled in the past. And what I really liked from the keynote is that we should not only consider or focus on battery electric vehicles, but also on hydrogen technology, especially if it comes to flying vehicles to long distance and to vehicles operating in cold areas.
All right, thank you. And thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, you in the jury, you're going to ask a few questions after each of the pitches of the startups. And later, we're going to give you a chance to discuss in a breakout room really quickly who is going to be your winners for tonight. There's going to be a first, a second, and a third winner. We're looking forward to what you have to say later. We'll see you soon. And yes, as you know by now, we're partnering up with the CTA. The Consul already gave a short introduction on what the program is about. It's a program helping Canadian companies accelerate their growth by connecting them to key technology hubs and markets such as Munich, of course. But let's have a closer look at what the CTA is and get some impressions.
This program has been designed by the Trade Commissioner Service to help high potential, high growth Canadian companies that operate in three areas of technology: in clean tech, in health sciences, and in information and communication technologies.
Our program has two components, a virtual component and an in-market component.
We were assigned various mentors. We're coming from all sorts of backgrounds and had all sorts of experience in the fields kind of adjacent to those of ours and who knew the ecosystem. For us, what was really beneficial in terms of meeting with these mentors on a regular basis is that I was constantly challenged on my knowledge of the US healthcare system.
So the biggest benefit of doing the CTA is the quality of the mentors. They want to help young Canadian entrepreneurs reach their level of success.
Companies that have participated in the program have already been successful in terms of raising capital, about over $625 million. They've generated over $230 million of revenue. And what we're really proud of is the number of jobs that have been created. Over 2,400 jobs have been created in Canada as a result of the CTA program.
If I had to give an advice to an entrepreneur who wants to go through the CTA, I would definitely tell him to do it. Absolutely, you're going to have a memorable experience.
For Canada, it's important to diversify our economy, to diversify our exports, and the CTA program has given a platform for companies to identify new markets, to get insights that they wouldn't get otherwise, and to really see the potential.
Yes, as you saw in the video, this is the first CTA program on AutoTech in Munich, and we're of course very happy that the Canadian government and the Canadian Consulate here in Munich decided to partner with us on this program. And I've had the opportunity to work with the 6 startups for the last couple of months, got to know them a little bit, and yeah, it was a great fun, and I hope that they got a deeper exploration of the Munich ecosystem and the German automotive market. They've had workshops at UnternehmerTUM, and they got mentors from our network. And yeah, I hope they got a lot out of this program. And I think that the German automotive industry can really benefit from your ideas, from your new solutions. As we know that the German automotive industry, we are seeking actively new technologies, and the trend goes towards smarter cities. So we really have to, pick up the pace when it comes to new innovations and making our mobility solutions more sustainable as well. And I'm glad that we have international forces coming together, facing these challenges together. But now I would like to give the stage to our first startup for tonight. Our first startup is Deeplite. They have been founded in 2019 in Montreal. And what they say they do is make AI accessible and affordable to benefit everyone's daily life. And here tonight for us pitching, we have the CEO, Nick. Nick, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. So Nick Romano, I'm co-founder and CEO of Deeplite, and we enable AI for everyday life. When we talk about AI at the edge, what we mean is it's basically the interface of technology with the real world. Autonomous vehicles and connected vehicles is a perfect example of that. We believe strongly that the edge is going to be bigger than the cloud. When we talk about the billions of devices that proliferate our world, powered by literally billions of microcontrollers, microprocessors, sensors, etc., talking to each other through 5G networks, getting access to that data and processing your AI where that data resides as opposed to in the cloud is the future of AI. And we strongly believe by enabling AI at the edge, it will become untethered, decentralized, and everywhere, enabling AI for everyday life. One of the biggest challenges with deep neural networks within AI is that they're slow and that they're big. They require a tremendous amount of compute power, a lot of memory, and consume batteries in a big way. So these are very big impediments to getting AI at the edge. So what do you need to do? To get AI at the edge, you need to do a couple of things. You need to make AI smaller so that it can fit in constrained hardware, and you need to make AI faster so that it can make decisions when you need it to. And you need to do this without compromising the accuracy, that decision-making process of your AI, without compromising that accuracy. And that's what we do at Deeplite. We've created an AI platform that makes other AI smaller, faster, and more energy efficient so that you can deploy it within edge devices. And we do that through a hardware agnostic software accelerator process. We've got two components to our solution, Deeplite Neutrino, which is what we use to make the AI tiny, and Deeplite Runtime, which is what we use to make it run faster. And we do this without compromising the accuracy of that AI. Where do we fit in the AI workflow? It's a very easy solution to use for a deep learning team. You download the engine, and it basically sits within your AI environment, where you train your model focused on accuracy, but maybe it's too big, maybe it's too slow, maybe it's consuming too much power. And Neutrino will facilitate getting that model into a form factor that works for your production. Then you deploy that optimized model into your edge device, and you can run it with Deeplite Runtime. Great example here with BlackBerry QNX, where we're talking about, illustrating speed up here. We've got a 3x speed up of this model using the Neutrino optimization process. And we've got a major improvement in battery performance as well. This is another great example with our partnership with ARM, where we took a 13 megabyte model, which was already small, and with Neutrino, we reduced it down to 144 kilobytes, well within the 256 kilobyte capacity of the on-chip memory. We're very, very proud of the fact that we've just closed a $6 million seed round. We're closing it today, so we're very excited about that. And getting ready for the next big push for Deeplite. We are Deeplite, and we create AI for everyday life.
Wow, thanks, David. That was exactly 3 minutes. Perfect. And congratulations on closing that round. Amazing.
Thank
what
you.
a day.
Thank you. I'm technically still signing documents as they come in. So
nice. Great. Before we switch to the jury, the audience, you also have the chance to ask questions. You can ask them in Slido, I have an iPad here, so I'll get your questions. There might be a short delay between our live recording and the streaming. So if I don't make it in time to take up your question, please meet and ask Nick later in the networking session. But now to the jury. I believe, Andrea, you have probably a question for Nick, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And first, of course, I have to say congratulations. I mean, you must be.
Thank you.
Absolutely, basically stunning, and then wanting to run off and celebrate.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's great. So to not take up too much time, you stress a lot, and I have no idea, to be very frank. I tried to read up on it, but the neural networks and AI, that's all a lot of, well, I can speak English, but that's where it stops, I guess. But you talked a lot about accuracy. And could you maybe explain one more time, because you stressed that very much, how you ensure that accuracy is not lost? Like, what is it that you do that you ensure that, if speed is at the same time also of the essence?
Yeah, it's a concept, and I won't get into too much technical jargon, but it's a concept it's called knowledge distillation. So essentially, when you have your original model that you've trained, what we advocate for our customers is that they not worry about the size of the model or necessarily even its performance, but focus on the training aspect of that model to increase the accuracy of its decision-making process. That requires a lot of data. So the more data, the better the decision-making process, the better the accuracy. So what we do is we use that original model as kind of a teacher model. And then our proprietary algorithms, what we do is we essentially interrogate that model. We explore this massive design space within that model, finding a new model architecture that can essentially satisfy the exact same accuracy requirements as the original model, but can do so in a form factor where it's smaller and faster, et cetera. And that's all within the user's control. They decide what they're looking for and if they're willing to trade off any accuracy or not.
All right.
Thanks. Maybe another question from the jury. Simon, would you like to ask Nick something?
So I'm wondering about the minimum system requirements concerning the hardware. For instance, if it comes to a surveillance camera or something, is it that easy, if I may ask that, and to implement your technology on an ordinary or at least an intelligent surveillance camera?
Yeah, well, so Deeplite's platform, particularly Neutrino, is kind of hardware agnostic. So it really depends on what your use case is. So you get to specify within the design constraints within Neutrino what your target is for your optimized model. So if you're running on a GPU, for example, or graphic processing unit, and you have that kind of compute, maybe you're more focused on the speed of the model as opposed to the size. But if you're in a surveillance camera, and rather than transmit all that video to the cloud, you want to have that run locally, then you can configure the target constraints for your optimization to fit within the parameters of that particular hardware on that camera. It's all within the user's control.
Okay, thanks a lot. Very interesting.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Nick. We're going to move on to the next pitch. You can relax now until.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. So next up we have Halion. Halion was founded in 2015 in Kitchener, Canada, and they're building the future of intelligent surfaces. And I would like to welcome founder and CEO Ryan to the stage. Hi, Ryan. The next 3 minutes are yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Ryan. I'm the CEO at Halion. And at Halion, we're developing advanced color-changing nanomaterials for smart surfaces. So we see the future where all of the windows and walls around you, they should be able to come alive and show you information customized to your needs in the moment. But with today's technologies, we're never going to get there. They consume way too much power, they're often way too slow to interact with, and they're really hard to see outside in direct sunlight. So we've invented a new class of color-changing materials to solve this problem. These materials are, the IP is owned completely by Halion. We've invented it, and we have the patents pending right now. We take these materials and we can integrate them into all kinds of different devices. On the very simple side, we can do things like color-changing films, And on the more complex side, we can develop high resolution, full color display systems. So here's a little demo of a transparent display that we've developed using our materials. What you're looking at are a couple layers of glass with some of our material in between. And when we actuate the different pixels, you can see that in this case, our logo is lighting up. Now we're focused right now mostly on the automotive industry, although there's a lot of applications, across different industries, which I'll touch on a little bit later. So with the color changing films, we're looking at ways to basically implement them onto the outside of a vehicle so that you could actually have a car that can change color depending on your mood or what day it is. We're also looking at developing low power systems for the outside of the vehicle that are daylight visible. These can be used for signaling the intent of autonomous vehicles to pedestrians on the street, or as digital advertising platforms when the car is parked. And we can also work on things for the interior of the car. As more and more vehicles develop display control systems, our technology enables us to build a system which in one state can display information and be a way to interact with the vehicle. And in another state, it can look exactly like wood paneling or carbon fiber and really blend into the design of the vehicle. So it can kind of disappear when you don't need it and then reappear when you do need it. But of course, there's a lot of other use cases for the same technology. There's applications for color changing architecture and digital wayfinding solutions. We're also working on things like low power displays for smartwatches and smartphones and other consumer electronics. And then use cases for retail advertising for things like outdoor signage, billboards, transportation. It's pretty much limitless. And to also emphasize, it's not just about replacing existing solutions. Our technology will enable entirely new markets to be created where right now the display technologies today consume way too much power to be used. And so you can imagine the outsides of buildings becoming giant billboards or digital shelf labels becoming interactive experiences with the customer. We've raised some money from some great investors in the past, including Hello Ventures and Techstars. And we're currently raising a seed round. We're looking for partners that are interested in POC collaborations. So if those are a good fit for anybody, please reach out. We've developed a technology with highly scalable manufacturing and 8 patents pending. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ryan. And yeah, you heard the audience. Please reach out to Ryan and Halion. Now I've received the questions for Deeplite. I told you that there is a short delay. It's great questions. Please ask them in the networking round later. It's on the challenges, on the model specified. Really good questions. But now it's all about Halion. So I'd like to ask the jury back on stage. Maybe Simon, do you have a question for Ryan?
Yeah, so first of all, very impressive products, really incredible characteristics, what you showed us. But I'm wondering, for instance, if you cover the windows of a building with your technology and at a certain time the building will be demolished and it comes to recycling, are there any harmful materials involved or hazardous for environment, or what is the composition of the materials for your product which makes them environmental friendly or problematic?
Sure. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question. So our materials are actually all organic and pretty safe for the environment. There's pretty much no harmful compounds in them. There's no like toxic metals or anything like that. So that works pretty well. On top of that, though, the way they can be formulated, it can be like color changing films or displays, kind of like stickers. So you can kind of laminate them to the window, for example, and then potentially remove them during the demolition process and then reuse them in other applications.
Okay, thank you. So you thought about the whole process of, or about the whole lifetime of the product?
Yes, absolutely.
Very good.
That's good. Andrea, do you want to add a question?
Sure, it kind of adds on to what you just discussed. It seems that it's rather, if you're talking about a sticker, it seems that it's actually rather easy to apply it, right? That solution. So are there any any challenges with respect to the solution?
Yeah, so there's definitely, in terms of putting it in a real product, there's more to it than just the part that we provide.
Figured.
So, our side is, the material and the panel itself, but to create a holistic solution, there's batteries, there's, Wi-Fi integration, and then there's the whole software experience around it. That's a little bit outside of our area. We can build some demos, but that's where, we partner with customers who want to build that platform out for the product We're just supplying the main panel, basically.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan, for your pitch. And we might see you later. Who knows?
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Next up. Oh, wait, there's one question for Ryan. It's coming in time. Okay, let's take you back on stage. Ryan, is the ink transparent and when there's no color change activated?
Yes, so our materials are fully transparent. They can be transparent in both the colored state and the non-colored state, but when they turn off, they are colorless. So it would look like just a plain window that you can look through. You would not see anything.
All right. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right. Next startup is Lucette. Lucette was founded in 2017 in Toronto, and they're turning music into medicine. And I want to welcome co-founder and CEO Zach on stage. Zach, the next 3 minutes are yours. Good luck.
Thank you. Great. So, hi everybody. My name is Zach. I am CEO and co-founder here at Lucid, and we are turning music into medicine. So what we do is we deliver personalized and validated therapeutic music experiences to drivers and passengers with the goal of improving safety, improving health and wellness, and happiness. So you might ask, I thought this was about AutoTech. Why are we talking about music? So 70% or more of drivers listen to music in the car, and it's actually the most popular listening location. 6 out of 10 people also use music as their primary way to reduce stress and anxiety, which is actually 6 times more popular than meditation and yoga. And for most people, the vehicle is the highest quality listening experience. It's where we sing out loud and we have a great time. And so what our technology does is we turn this experience into a therapeutic experience using data. So we curate a catalog of high potential music for specific use cases. Within the embodiment that interacts with the user, we're measuring what their cognitive or their kind of mood state is. We use touch screens for users to indicate how they're feeling. They can use their speech like, hey, car, I'm feeling pretty nervous, or I'm feeling tired. Or in some cases, we're collecting biometrics through sensors that might be in the seatbelt or in other places in the vehicle. We then stream music that's engineered for the desired outcome, like improving focus and attention or decreasing stress and anxiety. And our system is learning kind of as a closed loop flywheel system. So we get better at serving each user, and our AI gets better at serving all users on our network of products. We validated this in 2 randomized control trials. The first was looking at decreases in anxiety within moderate anxiety adults, where we saw significant and strong results. We've also compared our technology to some of the most popular playlists on platforms such as Spotify. We are on track to generate $2 million in revenues in the next 12 months. We've got a major pipeline development in Alzheimer's disease with a pharmaceutical partner. We've got one of the major streaming services that we're partnering with to create new content. And we also have 2 partnerships in the digital and behavioral health space. But we're also really interested in what we can do in vehicle. So what I'm here looking for today are automotive proof of concepts, looking at attention, wellness, entertainment, and safety. So we can integrate within infotainment systems and within the sensing environment inside the vehicle, working with touch screens, heart rate monitors, voice, personal assistant type systems, and facial recognition systems. We can use all this data to actually provide the user, the driver, the passenger an enhanced experience. So we're looking at driver safety and attention, passenger health and wellness, engagement, and entertainment. So with that, I'll turn it back to Rissa and the jury for some questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Zach. A good start with your pitch to make people happy.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's hear the jury's questions. Mara, maybe, do you have a question for Zach?
Yeah, sure. What I clearly understood is that the more data you get, the better the experience you can create. But what would be kind of the minimal level of data that you need to get like a good experience? Because when I would imagine just telling the car, hi, I'm happy, hey, I'm sad, that's probably not quite enough.
You'd be surprised. Actually, we can work with just that. So for us, just like a navigation system, we need to know where somebody is and where they want to go, right? And when you have that, you can start charting a path. Of course, the more data you get, you can track their path. You can you say, hey, turn left, turn right, to optimize the path. So in our clinical studies, we looked at just one self-assessment data point, which is the user indicating their level of energy, which is arousal, and valence, which is emotion. So with this kind of 2x2, select how you're feeling, we're able to know where they're at. And then if we know, hey, car, I'd like to focus, then we know what kind of direction they need to take. And our validation studies, we're just looking at that one data point. And so we validated with that. Where we can add more data, we can even increase performance even more.
All right, thank you.
Time for one more question from the jury. Andrea or Simon, who would like to go first?
Yeah, maybe do you see also an application case when it comes to public transport? For instance, we have a subway station in Munich where they play classical music, I guess maybe to prevent violent behavior from users of public transport. Is it also something you can think of?
That's a possibility. I think there's obviously more data issues there when you look at kind of public transportation and people opting into that environment. We've had conversations with retailers who are like, hey, you know, a user comes in and they're getting their vehicle serviced and they're quite mad that they've got to get the vehicle serviced. Can we help calm them down? It's like, yeah, we could, but I think that it's better when they get an opt-in to the situation. So we're looking at kind of passengers and drivers where they want to increase their level of focus, decrease their stress and anxiety before work, before a big pitch event. And then even in the autonomous space, looking at things like motion sickness. One of our scientific advisors and neuroscientists has published papers in motion sickness before in the use of music. And we think we can kind of harness the underlying science there to actually provide an intervention for motion sickness in autonomous vehicles. So we're really looking at that in-vehicle kind of personal experience.
Cool, great, very interesting.
All right, thank you, Zach. You
Thank
can
you.
also relax now. I'm sure there are many questions from the audience. I don't receive them, haven't received them yet. I remember hearing your pitch for the first time. I had many questions, but I guess you can look forward to hearing them later in the networking session. So next startup, we have Mirametrix. Mirametrix was founded 2011 in Montreal. They are bringing a new era of natural human-computer interaction and a new generation of user experience. Very bold statements. We are looking forward to your pitch, Dennis. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Very excited to be here. My name is Dennis Lavallée, and I'm the CEO of Mirametrix. Quick snapshot about the company. We are a software company. Our core expertise is AI computer vision, and our core technology is what we call attention sensing. So it's face, eye, and gaze tracking, and today we even do human skeleton and object tracking. We operate in two markets, consumer electronics and automotive. Two markets that intersect multiple ways. You are looking at a market-proven technology. The technology is in use in 176 countries, 29 languages, and we are investing heavily in IP. We have a rich portfolio of patent and trade secrets, and compared to our direct competitors, we are financially independent and profitable. At a high level, what we do is that we help global technology leaders fast track their AI computer vision problem to bring to market the concept of smarter devices and smarter vehicles. This is part one of our value prop. So when you engage with us, you have access to a fully staffed AI computer vision lab in Montreal, a team of 40 people. We literally have a core group of experts in AI and computer vision who can tackle the most complex AI problem, but we also bridge to an experienced software engineering team for the packaging of commercial grade products. It's one thing to do AI and AI research. It's another thing to ship commercial grade products on millions of devices. And this is what we do at Mirametrix. As an example, our technology ships on 80+ personal computing devices at Lenovo for use cases around security and privacy, productivity, collaboration, digital well-being. For example, we can monitor screen time and detect screen fatigue. Intel is using our technology to promote the next generation of smart PCs. The exact same software and the exact same technology is used in automotive for driver status monitoring and in-cabin monitoring. So think about detecting distraction, attention, drowsiness, fatigue, and all kind of human-computer interaction using attention sensing. So this is our core engine. In automotive, tier ones and OEMs license our engine to power various in-cabin sensing solutions. So we deliver the highest tracking performance with the lowest computing footprint. It provides our partners with a fast go-to-market strategy at the lowest cost possible. I'm here with Ben Schluter, our Director of Business Development in Europe, who is based in Germany, and we're looking forward to work with you.
Great, thanks, Dennis. And let's hear your questions from the jury. Andrea, what would you like to know more about?
You. Yeah, thanks, Dennis. You kind of already touched upon it, but maybe you can one more time, like in a sentence, summarize what what is your USP versus your competitors, specifically maybe with respect to your solution.
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, we are completely. This is a software-only solution. Mm-hmm. So in our market, you will find competitive solutions that are hardware-driven. We work on any type of sensors. So we are sensor agnostic and we are hardware agnostic. So this is very important because what it provides a tier one or an OEM in automotive is the flexibility to come up with a product segmentation strategy. So you can imagine your entry-level vehicles will have a subset of the capability that we provide at the lowest cost possible from a hardware standpoint. But then for your premium vehicles, you will have premium hardware components. You will have all the bells and whistles that we can enable from a software standpoint. So what we provide is that flexibility in terms of product segmentation strategy of a tier one or an OEM.
Okay, thanks.
Then I switch over to you, Mara.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, Dennis, what I've been thinking during the presentation, you've said that within the mobility sector you're focused on automotive applications. I have been thinking that actually this could be a very good solution for basically every situation where people have to be alert or you have to check that people are really focusing. So what instantly popped in my mind was air traffic management, aircraft, airport environments. In terms of business development, is that something that you have thought about?
Oh, you are absolutely right. So we are in the computer vision market. In computer vision, you can imagine all the verticals. It's easy to understand. Basically, anything that has a camera could benefit from our technology. So the reason today that we're in automotive and consumer electronics is because those are the early adopters from a market standpoint. They are investing heavily in this kind of technology and in AI. But you're absolutely right that you have other verticals, both into the mobility space or transportation space, but also other verticals in healthcare, in online education. I mean, we can literally detect if a kid understands what he or she reads. I mean, the potential is immense in terms of where we can have this technology applicable. From a management standpoint, we need to make sure that we don't lose focus and concentrate on early adopters so that we can maximize our revenues and accelerate our go-to-market in those segments. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the sky's the limit in terms of potential applications.
Thanks a lot.
That's a good statement. The sky is the limit. That's a great attitude. Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
next startup is Miru Smart Technologies, founded 2011 in Vancouver. And apparently they are bringing us the future of Windows. So with me here on stage now is Curtis.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Miru Smart Technologies, and I'm here actually with my Director of Technology, Flavio Cabanera, who will also be in the lobby to meet folks. Yeah, and we're based here in the Olympic Village area of Vancouver. If you're familiar with the city, we're just located here in the lower right-hand corner. So it's a very, very pretty area of the city. And we are commercializing the next generation of Windows for the vehicle. And really, we're trying to address two key trends in the automotive sector today. And one is that we've got an increasing electrification of the vehicle fleet. And two, we're seeing more and more glass in vehicles than ever before. There's actually about 5 square meters of glass in a vehicle today, and that's about twice as much as what you'd find in a vehicle about 2 or 3 decades ago. And so we need to have more energy efficient windows to be able to reduce the load on the HVAC system when the cars are sitting there, because that can actually really reduce the driving range of these vehicles. And so there are studies that have shown that electrochromic windows provide this energy savings to increase the driving range. And so just to educate you on the landscape of technologies that are available to the Windows sector. So we're starting to see what we call SPD technologies. These are fast switching windows. They're starting to appear not just in high-end vehicles like McLarens and Lamborghinis, but also in the Toyota Venza. But there remain some challenges around that technology. One is it's expensive and it's hazy. So when you look, if you're in the driver's side and you look at the window above the passenger, it looks actually quite cloudy and that's not desirable. And this also has a very intense blue color. And if you consider the windows that are in the Boeing Dreamliner, these actually tend to be very difficult to scale. So you can't have an unobstructed view from your sunroof. Nonetheless, these are also starting to appear in some vehicles offered by GM. And what we're doing actually is we have a patented process that allows us to use the same materials that are actually used in commercial buildings. So really large panel windows that provide energy savings, and we're bringing those to the automobile. And actually we're uniquely positioned to do that with our process because we're the only ones that can make those ceramic films on curved surfaces. So really our advantage here is we provide several advantages on the industry side. We have a much lower cost of making our products, much lower cost of actually building up the plant to make it, because we don't use the vacuum deposition processes that the competitors use. And we also give access to a brand new, much larger industry. The other side of this is customers just want it. It's a cool product. People want it in their vehicle. Being able to be interactive with their windows, to be able to control the sunlight and the glare that's coming into the vehicle. People just want it. And this is really what we're bringing. So I think my time is up. I'll just say that we're just an early stage company. We closed a seed round a couple of years ago. We're staffed up to 20 people, and we're actually in the process of closing a Series A round. Be happy to discuss more after the meeting.
Great, thanks, Curtis. Then we'll switch over directly to the jury. Andrea, what would you like to know more about?
So just briefly, when I looked at it first, I did kind of I got hung up with smart home and looking at my own windows. But just to understand, your company is focusing on the automotive industry, right? Or did you? I wasn't quite sure whether I caught that correctly. Did you start in the commercial buildings kind of industry?
Hey, no, it's a great question. So because of our cost model, we're originally bringing our product out to the residential sector, and we continue to do that. But what we've come to appreciate is that there is a pain point in the fact that the automotive sector actually likes this technology, but no one else can coat on curved surfaces these same electrochromic films that you would see in the commercial space. And this is what our value proposition is that we have the only process known in the world that allows you to lay down these electrochromic films at room temperature and room pressure. Everybody else has to do it under vacuum or at 600 degrees centigrade.
Oh, wow.
And that is not compatible with curved windows. And so this is why we've realized that there's a huge opportunity for us to be able to use our technology and really tackle this opportunity in the automotive sector.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Great. And we switch over to Simon for another question.
Yeah, thank you for the great presentation. I have again to ask a question concerning recycling strategy. So in your case, are there any hazardous materials involved, or are there product-specific challenges when it comes to the end of life of your products?
No, we're using non-toxic metals, and these end up being in the form of oxides. So we're just basically making rocks on window. So we don't see any challenges in that respect.
Okay, so they are just disassembled, melted, and so on, and you can just recycle them with the rest of the car, for instance.
Yeah, so none of the metals that we use are, so the metals that we use are more common than what you would see in batteries today, for example.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Curtis, and maybe see you later.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, then we come to our last startup for tonight. Two Potential Motors was founded 2019 in Hanwell, and they are unlocking the potential of electric off-road vehicles. And I'm very happy to have Sam here tonight, the president and CEO of Potential Motors. Sam, the stage is yours. Welcome, and good to see you again.
Awesome, good to see you too. Thanks, Marissa, for a great event so far. Hi everyone, my name's Sam. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Potential Motors, and we are developing AI-based holistic control software for electric vehicles. So if you look at the industry as a whole right now, it's going through massive disruption, and this is being brought on by electrification, connectivity of vehicles, and then the shift to autonomous that's happening. But if we look at all this going on, what it's really leading to is a fundamental shift in the way that vehicles are being designed and built from the ground up. And one of the places that we can really see this change happening is in the control architecture of a vehicle. So here's a bit of an example of how big this is changing. It's going from having 80 plus different control computers within the vehicle or ECUs to having less than 10. And really this is being driven by the fact that we're moving towards a software driven architecture within vehicles compared to hardware driven, which was in the past. So as this happens, all of a sudden we start to run into this problem of the complexity within software starts to really increase as we move to this different architecture setup. And that's exactly the problem that we are working on and facing, which is how to improve upon this architecture to be able to provide control system for future electric vehicle platforms. That's exactly what we're doing with Rally AI, which is the centralized holistic control system that we're using for controlling the electric platform of the future. So essentially what this does is it takes in inputs from the driver or the path planner in the vehicle. So it's not an autonomous system, it lives a layer below that, and interprets the driver's desired path to be able to then make decisions on how best to apply torque at the different independent motors of the vehicle, suspension actuation, braking, and even steering in a steer-by-wire system. So holistically controlling these different actuators of the vehicle. And the way we do that is by augmenting the driver's intended or desired path with perception data that tells us what type of road conditions the vehicle is driving over. So ultimately, this results in a system that has improved control in unexpected conditions, resiliency to failures, as well as scalability in software. So far we've had some pretty great conversations with OEMs across the automotive space, but the challenge with the automotive industry is that the timeline is extremely long to enter into that space. So we've identified a market that is able to benefit from this technology today. That's a $14 billion market that is really just going through this disruption right now. And that's in the off-road UTV space. So this space is completely unprepared for this transition that's about to happen. There's no EV technology leaders in the space. The fact that it's unregulated means that there's a much quicker time to market for a company like ourselves. And they have a high value on performance for these vehicles in the industry. So I'm showing recreation here, but there's also mining, agriculture, all of these offshoot industries that are within this space. So what we're doing is we're leveraging the technology that we've been developing in software to be able to develop the platform that will enable this transition to electric for this space. So as a team, we have some pretty incredible people on it that have come from the automotive industry, as well as in building software companies in the past that have gone on to be sold to companies like IBM and Salesforce. To date, we've raised $2.5 million in funding, grown a team of 17 talented engineers and AI developers to be able to take on this challenge. And I'm looking forward to talking to everyone afterwards further about this. So thanks, Marisa.
Amazing. Thank you, Sam. And we'll switch over directly to the jury. Mara, what would you like to know more?
Yeah, I thought that your observation in the end that it is probably a rather difficult path to get into, like the OEM structures, and to look for other possibilities to get into cars. It's a good idea. What came to my mind is the Extreme Racing Series. This is about to start here in Europe, or actually no, all over the world, with teams like Rosberg, Extreme Racing, or stuff like that. So that there is actually, from my perception, a real interest in solutions such as the one that you have just described. Are you also looking into, well, e-racing, for example, as an application?
Yes, absolutely. So we've been talking to different people on the racing side of things as well, because that is traditionally how technology tends to find its pipeline into the automotive industry, because they're the ones who take on the highest risk in testing out the most innovative technology and applying it into these racing vehicles. So we are still looking at that. The thing that we've realized though is that regardless, that timeline is going to be extremely long going into the OEMs, even taking this approach in the racing side of things. Mm-hmm. So looking at other industries that can benefit from this, basically what we're working on today, earlier on, there's lots of opportunity there, because although I think all eyes are on automotive when it comes to electrification, the fact is that all vehicles on the market are going to have to make that transition over. So there's opportunities for us to look at other places to apply that earlier on, and that's where our transition to focusing on off-road UTVs has become one of our biggest focuses.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks.
All right, we have time for one more question from the jury. Who would like to pose one?
Maybe just a very quick one. I'm assuming you will supply the technology, but not, or do you also plan on actually producing your own vehicles, like when you vision yourself?
No, so the intention behind what we're doing is really being the platform provider from a software standpoint and a holistic software standpoint, and integrating that into existing companies' hardware.
Okay, and if I may ask an additional questions in the same direction, do you already have products you can present, or what is your technology readiness level in general?
Yeah, so we're quite early stage. So we've been doing the vast majority of our validation has been in software simulation, as well as on small scale hardware prototypes so far. So the next stage for us is actually basically demonstrating that on larger scale platforms or larger scale hardware. So we're basically moving into that phase of development during the next 3 to 4 months, which is where we'll actually be taking basically what we validated from a software standpoint, simulation standpoint, into a full scale hardware standpoint.
And I guess it's quite likely that your software will also be applied in vehicles on the moon and the Mars and so on. Yeah.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't turn down a conversation with any of those companies. That's definitely a pretty high interest of mine.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Because everything is off-road there. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Okay, now the jury has a few minutes to discuss in a separate room who they think should win 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place of tonight's Startup Pitch Award. And of course, you in the audience, you also have the chance to vote for your favorite startup and your favorite pitch, and you can do so now in Slido. Just to bring it back to your memory, who did we hear pitch? We heard 6 startups in total. First, we had Nick from Deeplite, making AI accessible and affordable to benefit everyone's daily life. Second was it was Ryan from Halion, building the future of intelligent surfaces. Then we had Zach from Lucid, turning music into medicine and making you happy. on site. Then we had Dennis from Mirametrix, bringing a new era of natural human-computer interaction and a new generation of user experience. Then we had Curtis from Miru Smart Technology, bringing us the future Windows. And finally, Sam from Potential Motors, unlocking the potential of electric off-road vehicles. So please vote in Slido now. And then in addition to our awards from the jury, we're gonna hear the audience favorite. But before we do that, I would like to call Veronika Reichelt on stage. She's from Invest in Bavaria. And I want to say a quick thank you to Invest in Bavaria, not only by supporting us and promoting this event, but also by making available the presents and the prizes for the startups for tonight. So welcome, Veronika, on stage. I would love to hear you present a little bit about Invest in Bavaria. Why are you relevant to Canadian startups like the ones we've heard tonight? And of course, we're all curious to hear what the prizes are that you're going to give to the startups.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marisa. We are really glad to be part of this inspiring event. It has been really great to listen to all the pitches so far. And we are, of course, also happy to dedicate the award to the winning startup. Just a few words about us. Invest in Bavaria is the business promotion agency of the state of Bavaria, and we support international startups or companies that want to set up a business here in this wonderful region. So our services are free of charge and confidential, and very much so. If you have any questions about Bavaria, if you even have an expansion to Europe or Germany in mind, or if you're just interested in Bavaria and certain sectors, please let me know. We should definitely talk. Either you can contact me anytime after this event to talk about it, or we can meet also later in the networking area where we have our own room. And I'm looking forward to have a beer with you.
Great. I heard that your room in the networking areas is the beer garden.
Yeah, right.
So to everybody listening, and please meet Veronika also later in the networking session. And what is the prize?
About the prize, yes. So this is the Invest in Bavaria Award 2021. And this is our Bavarian Lion that is able to wave at you, and it welcomes you already in Bavaria. It will go to the winning startup. I'm very curious. And for the other startups, we have a Bavarian surprise package. I don't want to reveal too much, but it's about spring and Bavarian mentality, and I think you will like it.
Nice. All right. And let me just check if we already have an audience vote. I'll get my iPad. How we're doing here. Do we have a result yet? Apparently we do. Just 1 second. Nope. I can't see it. Now I can see it. Perfect. All right. And the audience winner of tonight's pitch session is Halion. Ryan, congratulations. You won the audience vote.
Congratulations.
Very close, I have to say, to second place to Deeplite. All right. Veronika, it's good that you're still on. We're gonna welcome back the jury now. Let's see if they are ready and have decided on their winners. Let's see. Okay, it seems like they still have to. They are making their way back into the room. And then let's see, slowly dropping back into our stream. can unmute yourself again, the jury, so that we can see that you are back. To all the others, I've seen there came in a lot of questions in the chat. Use this opportunity later in the networking to talk to the startups, not only because you might be interested in the answers, but also to challenge the startups. I always think that's a great opportunity. I mean, the startups want to know what you think about their products, and you are their audience. So use the chance to talk to them. Okay, I see Mara is already back, Simon is back, and Andrea is also back. Seemed like you had to discuss a little bit, but I understand the startups are all really good. All right.
Okay, so then maybe I hand over the award to Mara, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So
here.
Thank you so much.
Perfect.
It arrived. Yay.
Great. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you so much.
All right. We're gonna start with the third winner of tonight, handed over or announced by Andrea. Andrea, who is the third winner of tonight's pitch session?
Thank you, Marissa. And as you just said, it was a really, it was a tough one. But the third winner is Mirametrix, because we were really very much impressed by the application and the breadth of it. So congratulations. And obviously, thank you also for joining us and pitching.
All right. Congratulations, Mirametrix and Dennis, for pitching tonight. Thank you. And you'll get a surprise package by Invest in Bavaria. Okay, Simon, you'll announce the second place for tonight. Who made the cut?
So, due to my opinion, a very convincing presentation and a very convincing product, including a very good cycling strategy, was presented by Halion Displays, and therefore we decided to give them the second prize.
Hey, all right. Congratulations, Ryan. Again, audience vote and second place for tonight. Okay, and then Mara, it's your time to announce the first winner and to hand out the Bavarian Lions.
So that is really a great honor for me to be able to hand over this nice little trophy here. We had a tough discussion and decided unison that we would like to put in first place Deeplite. We saw that there's just so much application potential in that solution that it can really enhance everybody's life in a way. I think that a few tech people can maybe imagine, but the broader public, not yet. But I guess they will be in contact with solutions such as Deeplite solutions in very near future. And we thought it was really a nice presentation, really good solution. And I'm very happy to hand you over this nice trophy digitally, but then also, well, I guess in a package in some days.
Perfect. Thank you, Mara, and congratulations, Deeplite. Maybe we can get Nick back on stage for 1 second. What a day for Deeplite, first closing that round and now winning our first award. Do we have Nick here? Okay, he can't seem to come to stage right now. All right, then the lion will arrive via package. All right, thank you very much to our jury. And yeah, we've actually come to the end of the International Entrepreneurs Night, at least for the first part for the live stream. Soon the networking will start. But I want to take the opportunity to thank our partner tonight, the CTA, the Canadian Technology Accelerator, but of course, especially the startups pitching tonight. I hope we'll see you in Germany soon. To our jury, to Bavarian Innovative, the Digital Hub Mobility, the Initiative for Industrial Innovators. Thank you for posing your questions to the startups tonight. Thank you for your support. Invest in Bavaria, and again, Bavarian Innovative, the cluster automotive. all the best of luck to our startups. You're always welcome at UnternehmerTUM. If you're in Munich, please come by. We want to support you wherever we can. And for our audience, the next International Entrepreneurs Night is coming, of course. The next is the summer edition. It's going to be in mid-July. So already mark the time in your calendar and stay tuned for which region or country or city we're going to focus on. I think it might be Denmark, it might be Copenhagen, but yeah, stay tuned. And now please switch to the networking. As we mentioned earlier, the Canadian Consulate is going to be there. The Trade Commissioner, Cliff Singleton, who has been working with us on this CTA program for the last months. Thank you, Cliff, for the amazing cooperation with you. It's been a great opportunity and also a lot of fun to work with you. You can meet Invest in Bavaria in the Beer Garden, as mentioned, Bayern Innovativ. UnternehmerTUM is going to be there at the Digital Hub Mobility with Simon. And if you are an entrepreneurial interested student or founder watching right now, there are 2 rooms or 2 tables in this networking session that might be interesting to you. One is called iGlobal, which is a cross-border exchange program offering you, if you're a young entrepreneurially interested student, the opportunity to go abroad for 3 months, even to Canada, and get mentored by a local startup there. Or another room, InnovaCity. InnovaCity is an event series with a total of 5 workshops that tackle mobility challenges from cities all over Europe. And all these workshops are between April and July, and the first design thinking workshop will already take place very soon and will be hosted by the city of Munich. So if you want to become creative and want to know more about InnovaCity, join that table. And now I'm just seeing on my screen here that Nick is back. He made it back into the room. Maybe we take him one last time onto the stage. Nick, you were already so so busy celebrating your closed round that you left us, but you won the first prize. You might be muted. No?
How about that? Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
So congratulations, Nick.
Thank you so much. I apologize. I got distracted by one of the last signatures we had to get done today, and I completely missed the announcement. So all my team was pinging me saying, you got to get back on. You got to get back on.
Okay, perfect. So we want to know, what's your next step for Germany now?
Yeah, well, this is an incredible opportunity for us to collaborate in a fairly big way. I mean, you know, one of the things that we're going to be looking to do in the coming months, as we can start to leave our home offices, is how we're going to manage opportunities globally. So we're looking for a place to hang our shingle in Europe, and based on our traction in the mobility space, I think Munich could be a really interesting option for us. So love to see what we can do here.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Give my best to Davis as well, and see you soon.
I will.
Munich.
Thank you so much for this honor. We really appreciate it. Very appreciative. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. And then once again to everybody, thank you for joining us tonight, and see you in the networking session. Goodbye.